I began my career in law enforcement in 1978 when I was a freshman at MTSU. I started working for the MTSU campus police as a student officer. In August of 1979, I went full-time with MTSU. That was when I guess really my real law enforcement career began, because that was when I was commissioned to carry a weapon and had arrest powers and things like that. I went through the Tennessee Law Enforcement Academy in July of 1980 and was certified by the state then as a police officer. Shortly after, I had an opportunity for a job with the city of Murfreesboro. I spent the majority of my time at Murfreesboro as a police supervisor. Over my career, I spent a lot of time seeing a lot of things that most people just don't normally see in their lifetime, and generally most people don't want to hear about it. So not really having anybody other than other police officers to talk to, a lot of this stuff, in order to keep it away from my family, I internalized it, and I feel like that in some way that caused some of my health issues. I didn't have any outlet to relieve my internal stress, so I just absorbed it and began having blood pressure problems. And then shortly towards the end of my career, I had been promoted to lieutenant, and I had a rather stressful job. It's a unique situation where all my people were dispatchers and communication officers, and theirs too is a stressful job, and there were some ways that I couldn't deal with them as effectively as I wanted to, which was frustrating. So in January of 1987, I went to the doctor. Well, on that doctor visit, he took my blood pressure and it was through the roof. So he gave me some medicine to bring my blood pressure down. Waited about 15 minutes, took my blood pressure again, and it was still high. So we went through it again, and after the second 15-minute time period, he told me, he said, you've got one of two choices. He said, you can either call somebody to take you to the hospital, or I'm going to call somebody. So I called my wife. She arrived, and we made plans to leave, and he said, drive directly to St. Thomas Hospital, don't even go to Middle Tennessee Medical Center. He said, I want you to see a cardiologist there. So I agreed, and we left for the hospital. Got down there, spent several hours in the emergency room. They ran all sorts of tests, and the ER doctor came back in, and he said, we're going to turn you loose. We're going to let you go home, and you follow up with the cardiologist, here in another week or so. So I said, okay, great. A few minutes later, he came back in and said, would you be willing to spend the night here and let us do a cardiac catheterization on you tomorrow? And I said, well, I'm here. If there's a problem, let's find out what it is. So the next day they did the cardiac cath, and when that afternoon after the cath, the cardiologist came in and said, when did you have a heart attack? I said, I didn't know I had a heart attack. And he said, yeah. And he said, it was a pretty significant one. He said, you've got 3 arteries that are almost completely blocked, and we're going to have to do bypass surgery on you. So this was Wednesday. Went to the doctor on Tuesday. This was Wednesday. On Thursday, they did the surgery on me. So, basically for 24 hours, I didn't know that the world was going on around me. I had to go back in June of that year, and because I had some damage to the left ventricle of my heart, they were afraid that I could go into ventricular fibrillation. So they implanted a defibrillator in my upper left chest. That was in June of 1988, and since then I've not had any problems per se. Being active and being physical has helped my health, or helped me to maintain my health. And I do pretty much what I want to do anytime I want to. I don't think I'll be running a marathon anytime soon, but I can walk or hike or bike, or basically do pretty much what I want to. I just not to the point where I too overstrenuous where I might get cause problems, and then again, it might not do me bad to be a little more strenuous in my recovery. But if you've got things that are bothering you, talk to somebody about them. Or if, you're struggling with issues at work or at home, it's always best to talk about that. It's not good to internalize anything, because when you internalize it, it doesn't have anywhere to go but within you, and to destroy you. So, and talking really does people good.